Hey, yo, Josh, let me get a little bit of reverb. Yeah. J. Will. Yeah, I'm about that lifestyle. I talk green work, repping it all over. It's right on the t-shirt. Fan for a lifetime. Yeah, that's a long pass. Figure I would show some love right on the podcast. Turn this up loud and make sure you don't do nothing else. Cause if you're listening to us, then you're improving your health. My name is J. Will. Welcome to the show, yeah. Wrestle, flow, 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 yeah.
Wrestlemania week is rolling on here on Wrestling Reverb. Welcome everyone to the show. I am Josh, and I'm pretty sure Kevin is here as well today, of course.
I snuck in. I snuck in through the back door this week. I am here alongside you, Josh. Josh, how you doing?
Fantastic. It's Wrestlemania week. I'm gearing up. Raw put me in a wonderful mood for Wrestlemania. We got SmackDown in a few hours. We're already we're in the home stretch for WrestleMania. It's pretty exciting.
It is, and Raw did its job on last night. Monday night, for those if you're not listening right after we're done recording. Raw was Monday night, and they really, really did a good job of selling the main stories and getting people back hooked in, especially with the Rollins-Lesnar story, which has been a bit dragging over the last couple of weeks, and it's definitely, you could chalk that up to Lesnar not being here. But they really kicked it into gear, and they sent the show to Mania with Rollins standing tall, and it really makes it believable that he could possibly win, that he took down the Beast.
I know, Raw did a great job of selling me on that match. He did a great job of selling me on all the Raw side of things, even Baron Corbin and Kurt Angle to a certain degree. Raw just did a really good job. The women's triple threat match main event, that segment, that brawl, I loved every single minute of that ridiculous, over-the-top, extra segment. I loved it. That's what wrestling is to me. It's over-the-top, and it's wonderful.
Pro wrestling at its finest right there. You got a brawl, you got police, you got cop cars, you got handcuffs, you have so much going on, so many different, just so much action. And there was not a dull moment during that whole segment. There wasn't a moment where you were like, okay, well, maybe this is time to end. You wanted it to keep going forever and ever, and that's the hallmark of a good wrestling segment.
Yeah, and it also featured an incredibly brutal knee from one Charlotte Flair to one Ronda Rousey. She clocked her right in the head, and it was brutal.
Yeah, it was a more serious spot in an otherwise lighthearted segment. That was a vicious looking knee. That's hard to pull off. You gotta use it's hard to pull off anything with your hands tied behind your back. You have to sort of get the momentum up, but she really stuck that knee.
Oh yeah, she brutalized her with it. That segment to me, anyone that doesn't love this segment because it's too ridiculous and too over the top, that's wrestling. Wrestling is that. To me, anyway, wrestling is meant to be extra. They're not really going to jail. Well, guess what? They're not really fighting each other, so you probably were watching the wrong product. But, man, it was just a great time. Sold me on WrestleMania, and that's what we're all here for. Today is going to be a WrestleMania special. Me and Kevin today are going to talk about our favorite WrestleMania matches, moments, cards, our least favorite WrestleMania matches and moments and cards. We're just going to talk all things WrestleMania today. Kevin, right off the bat, let's get into this. Let's not waste any time. Let's get chatting about Manias. It is WrestleMania week. Your number one favorite WrestleMania of all time. What is your personal favorite WrestleMania and why? Why is it?
So I've been going over this in my head pretty much since you released the schedule and I saw that we were going to have this type of show. Because to me, as far as favorite WrestleManias go, top to bottom, there are two. WrestleMania 23 and WrestleMania 31. I think they both had really stellar cards. They both had a lot of different things. I like 31 because you got the nostalgia pop, you got good technical wrestling, you got ladders, and you had all sorts of great things. You had Rusev coming out on a tank. You had John Cena win the U.S. title. Daniel Bryan wins the IC title. And obviously that great main event between Lesnar with Rollins coming out, cashing in one of the biggest WrestleMania moments in history. I lean 31 more so than 23. 23 had really great matches, top to bottom. It had a very underrated U.S. title match between Chris Benoit and MVP. The one match on the card I wish could have been a little bit better was actually Undertaker Batista, but I was still a fan of it. I thought it could have went a little bit longer. But this card really had a little bit of everything for me. It had the celebrity appeal, too, with Donald Trump, now President of the United States, taking on Mr. McMahon, the hair versus hair match with Lashley and Umaga. That was just a spectacle. Stone Cold was there, too. All the hallmarks of a great WrestleMania were there.
Damn, you sold me on that shit. Holy crap. Man, I'm taken back by that. 23 is fantastic. I do like WrestleMania 23. 31 is also really good as well, for all the reasons that you just listed. It's not very often that I am lost for words when someone talks about wrestling. I can't even put that into better words. Well done, Kevin. You just got Josh
That's
to
what
stop
I'm here
talking.
for, man. I'm here to sell you on my favorite manias.
So for me, WrestleMania 24 is my all-time favorite WrestleMania. I love WrestleMania 24. It had the end of careers. It had a very underappreciated, it's not talked about enough. The main event of this show is Edge and Taker, and they have a brilliant match. And I don't feel like that is on the in the upper class of great WWE matches. That is a fantastic match. Edge and Undertaker. It had a triple threat between Triple H, Randy Orton, and John Cena. That was also fantastic. It had some celebrity appearances from one Snoop Dogg in the Bunny Mania match. It had everything you want in a WrestleMania. It went really well. It was a beautiful... Hey, another thing about WrestleMania that isn't talked about enough is the set design. I absolutely appreciated the hell out of this WrestleMania set design. It was huge. It had, a lot of LED screens, because that was the first WrestleMania in WWE HD, since they went to HD and stuff like that. I just loved this WrestleMania. It had a brilliant Money in the Bank ladder match that CM Punk won his second Money in the Bank contract at. It was just a spectacle, that WrestleMania. Absolutely loved it to hell. The other one that comes close to me is I actually really, really, really love WrestleMania 30. It's a roller coaster. And obviously the streak ends in that WrestleMania and what it may be, but it is an absolute roller coaster from legit start to finish. So I absolutely love that WrestleMania as well. How do you feel about those WrestleManias, Kevin?
So I love 24. 24 is a really great one. Had a Batista Umaga match on there that I really liked.
Oh yeah, the Belfast Brawl also.
Yeah, had the Belfast Brawl was very good too.
Yeah.
I'm glad you bring that up. JBL and Finley, they really just beat the holy hell out of each other.
And it went on first, and it was like, what? This is going on first?
Yeah,
and it was just brutal. There was a suicide dive spot that Finley did to the outside, and JBL grabs a trash can lid and just smacks Finley right in the mouth, right in the top of the head with it.
Yeah.
I'm like, ouch. That match is brutal.
Brutalized them. And so there's something about outdoor WrestleManias to me that I just enjoy.
Yeah.
And 24 was in Orlando. I love when it's still like bright out.
Yep.
It feels old school. It feels like one of the older WrestleManias, like the ones that came from Las Vegas and Caesar's Palace.
Yeah.
It really just, and that's what I love about 31. Was almost the entire show was in daylight. It really only got dark for the last 2 or 3 matches. Yeah.
I love when it starts bright and then by the main event it's dark. That to me, there's something about that I can't really explain into words why I like it, but it just feels like, oh, this is our main event because it's dark. I don't know why, but I just like that.
As for WrestleMania 30, I will The thing is, I can never rate it in my favorites just because of what happened to Undertaker.
That's fair.
It was a pretty decent card. Otherwise, it just broke my heart, broke my soul.
Me too. Don't worry, it broke my heart as well. But I mean, to me, that's a part of wrestling. Wrestling has heartbreak, and wrestling has real emotion, and that was, you can't really get too much realer than that to me. So that's why I kind of, even if I don't, I get upset over it when it happened, it still was great.
I know, it's just...
I get you, though, don't worry. I get you.
It was just too real, just too real.
With WrestleManias, though, it's not just about your all-time favorites, because there could be bad WrestleManias with great matches. When you think of great WrestleMania matches, what kind of comes to mind with you, Kevin, when you think of your, not even the best WrestleMania matches, just more so your favorite WrestleMania matches?
So, I'm going to go, first up, you got to go with my all-time favorite. And I've said this before. I may have said it on this show. May have just said it in passing to you. But WrestleMania 28, Undertaker versus Triple H inside Hell of a Cell with Shawn Michaels as the referee, is probably my all-time favorite Mania match. There are a couple contenders, but I'd say that's the one I've gone back and rewatched the most. That one just had a little bit of everything. It was really well worked. The emotion, you talk about emotions in a wrestling match, they had it all. They ran the gamut of emotions. Had the best near fall I've ever seen, with Taker getting hit with the pedigree and the sweet chin music into the pedigree rather, and he managed to kick out of that. And I remember where I was at a friend's house. We ordered the pay-per-view, we had snacks and everything, and when that happened, when Undertaker got hit with both those two moves, I thought it was over. I knew it was over. I was like, yeah, that's it, guys. That's the end of the streak. And honestly, I would have been okay with it at that moment, but it wasn't to be. Undertaker kicked out, ran the streak to 20-0. That's where I think the streak should have ended. It either should have ended there, or I think he should have retired after 28, because he was at 20-0. They billed that as the end of an era. It made perfect sense. You had that great moment at the end where Taker, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels were all at the top of the ramp and they embraced each other. It really felt like the end of an era. It really did. And they sort of reneged that, because you get Taker and Triple H at every Mania since.
Yeah, I get that. I think maybe at one stage, I think the end of the era was more so just, well, that's not true, because they wrestled last year. I think at that stage it was the last time we'd see those three in that kind of capacity again. But of course, we've seen them at Crown Jewel. But that's neither here nor there. That is a fantastic match, though. Nonetheless, it is just a killer match. I was the same as you when that sweet chin pedigree combo hit. I was certain it was done. I was like, this is the end of the streak. And then, of course, he kicked out, and man, that match is just a journey. Triple H beat the crap out of Undertaker with that chair for the longest time in that match.
Yeah,
damn.
It was like uncomfortable to watch, but at the same time, you can't look away.
I remember a spine buster on the stairs that just, I was like, ow, that would really hurt. I think it was a spine buster. I'm pretty sure it was. It was something with Undertaker landing on stairs. I know that. That match, though, is very, very good. All-time favorite Mania matches for me. The first one that kind of comes to mind is Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho at WrestleMania 19. Fantastic match. Very, 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 very good match. And honestly, the bit I like the most is after the match, when Jericho just kicks him right in the crown jewels, right in the grapefruits. He solidly laid him in there. Just the way Shawn fell down and was like, "Oh no, like don't do this to me." Like, it was just, I love that match. I always go back and forth because, listen, I know this is cliche to say, but Mania 25, Shawn Michaels and Taker, it's really hard to not mention that match because it's just perfect. That is, if you could have a perfect wrestling match, that to me is pretty close.
We would be doing a disservice if we didn't talk about that match, at least a little bit, because it is probably the greatest WrestleMania match that's ever happened.
It really is. It might not be my personal favorite WrestleMania match, but I know it's, if not the greatest, it's one of the greatest. It's just flawless. I think Shawn Michaels to me is the greatest professional wrestler ever. Well, the greatest WWE superstar ever. He is mine. I know a lot of people say Ric Flair, but to me, Shawn is mine. Shawn is everything that is just perfect with pro wrestling. Again, not my favorite pro wrestler ever, but Shawn Michaels is just the best to me. And I think The Undertaker is the best character to ever be in WrestleMania. And obviously those two have worked together so many times prior to that. So, I mean, they just know each other, and they're just perfect at wrestling. They know what they're doing, and just every single spot got bigger and bigger and bigger. That match is just perfect. And hey, Streak versus Korea the year after at WrestleMania 26 was pretty dang good as well. It's just hard to live up to how great WrestleMania 25 was. But man, you take Streak versus Korea just for the match itself and not compare it to the first one, and dang, that's a good match as well. The ending is beautiful.
Yeah, it really was great storytelling in both these matches. Really, there was more weight to WrestleMania 26's match because it was Streak versus Korea. It wasn't just a match between a guy who wanted to end the streak versus a guy who wanted to defend the streak. It was Shawn Michaels laying everything on the line, and especially when you take into consideration the road he took to get there. If you go back to the Royal Rumble 2010, how close Shawn Michaels came to winning that match and taking on Taker at WrestleMania. He had to resort to, he broke into the Elimination Chamber, if you remember, and cost Undertaker the World Heavyweight title. He really, really, really wanted to win that match. He wanted this match so bad that it made it so much more important as a result.
Damn. Just, I know it's not a shock, but those are just great matches. Another match that comes to my mind is from WrestleMania 25, and because of Shawn and Taker being so wonderful at that Mania, sometimes the other matches on that Mania get a bit lost, but Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy, the Extreme Rules match at WrestleMania 25 is also really, really, really good. Cool spots. It didn't go too long. I believe it may have went on just before or just after Shawn and Taker, which is a hard spot to go on after them. It may have went just before, but regardless, cool story, cool match. Obviously those two are going to work well together because, well, they're brothers. So to me, that was a fun match. If you could think of an underrated or underappreciated WrestleMania match, if you can think of one off the top of your brain, what kind of comes to mind?
I'm looking at one right now, actually, because I think it's one of the better WrestleMania matches I've ever seen, but it doesn't always show up on those lists. From a show that was top to bottom really good, too, WrestleMania 21, Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels.
Oh, that's one of my brother's favorite matches. I've watched that match so many times. It is so dang good. I'm glad you brought up WrestleMania 21 because that is a really good card.
Just really great stuff. Another great near fall after Angle hit the Angle Slam from the top rope. Managed to kick out, Michaels did. It was just really good top to bottom technical wrestling between two of the all-time greats.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. Wow. WrestleMania 21 is fantastic. The Money in the Bank, on the first ever Money in the Bank ladder match, I know that's weird to say now, but the first ever Money in the Bank ladder match was just a great match. That finish of that WrestleMania match, that WrestleMania Money in the Bank, is one of my favorite ladder match finishes when Benoit's up and about to get the briefcase and Edge comes in with the chair and just whacks him in the shoulder. He falls down and Edge grabs it. I love that match. That Money in the Bank is really, really good because we didn't have an expectation of what a Money in the Bank ladder match could really be. We hadn't seen a, other than tag team ladder matches, we really hadn't seen, every man for themselves 6-way ladder match at that point. We hadn't seen that, so we had no expectation of what it could be. There were so many spots. Shelton Benjamin did some great stuff in that match. Christian, Kane, Jericho, Benoit, Edge. Just the perfect 6 guys to what we know now what Money in the Bank is.
Yeah, honestly, if you just to go back and think about what you want out of a Money in the Bank match, they nailed it first try, which is not hard. It's hard to believe almost because this was a match where a lot could go wrong. There's a lot of spots that might go wrong, and the ladder matches are always very iffy with that. But these guys did everything right. Benjamin's like the MVP of the WrestleMania ladder match.
Yeah.
He just seems to everyone he does something crazy, just running up the ladder, hitting the clothesline off of the inclined ladder.
Oh,
that was
brutal.
Oh, Benoit's headbutt off the top rope, the ladder to Kane where he busted himself open.
Oh my god, we've talked about Benoit. We've talked about Benoit last show on a Reverb Rewind. Benoit is so dang good. It's a real shame what happened because technically sound one of the best I've ever seen in the ring. He does everything he does has a reason why he's doing it, and I mean that what goes from good to great. That's what makes you a great professional wrestler. Is just everything has a reason. There's no just things that even the way he walks, the way he looks at someone, he just is really, really good. And yeah, that headbutt he did to Kane, he literally busted himself open on that. I think I'm going to watch WrestleMania 21 at some point today because that's just given me flashbacks to all of that. But just a really, really good match. When you think of Money in the Bank at WrestleMania, that used to be a staple of WrestleMania for the longest time. What kind of comes to mind when you think of great Money in the Bank ladder matches, other than that one?
We'll remove that one from the list. I don't think of the 6 we got at WrestleMania, I don't think there was a bad one. I don't think there's been a bad Money in the Bank ladder match, even with the advent of the pay-per-view. No. I mean, it's hard to not have it's hard to have an unentertaining ladder match.
Yeah.
For me personally, with the Mania ones, again, going back to 23, Jeff Hardy jumping off the ladder, taking out Edge and himself, just exploding through that ladder.
We hadn't really seen that at that point. I don't think we'd seen
that was the first ladder bump.
Yeah.
Where you broke the ladder.
Yeah.
It's the first one I could remember. Definitely.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the first. And it was the first Money in the Bank with more than 6 in it. It had 8.
Yeah, it 8.
Yeah.
Bigger field. You had your stalwarts like the Edge, the Hardys. You had Shelton Benjamin in there, I believe. You had Mr. Kennedy winning the match.
Mr. Kennedy.
Which I really loved until they took it off him.
Yeah.
Although I think he was injured, so it's not like... Yeah. So it's not like they screwed him over or anything. It was just bad timing. But he was someone who was set after this match. He hit the little... This wasn't this one of the other ones I think of. This isn't in this ladder match. I actually don't remember which one this was in.
Well, I'll tell you.
But Finley was in it, and Mr. Kennedy was in it, and Hornswoggle popped out, and Mr. Kennedy gave him the Green Bay
Green Bay plunge. That was
Green
23, wasn't it?
It may have been. Oh yeah, I'm not even looking at 23's thing. So maybe Finley was in that match.
Yeah, he was. Because the only other one Mr. Kennedy was in was 24, and Finley fought JBL. So,
okay, so it was 23.
Yeah.
All right. Clarification necessary. Thank you. It was, that spot where he plunges Hornswoggle off the ladder. It makes me laugh every time. I don't know why. I'm a sick puppy, but...
I love it too, so...
Good spot. The other one that really always... pops into my mind spot wise, and obviously these matches are built on spots, so everything is a spot. But watching Ric Flair at WrestleMania 22 take the superplex off the ladder, looked like he broke his back. and then came back later in the match. That suplex makes me cringe every time. Just such a visceral reaction from me with that. But he was able to come back and almost win the damn thing. And that's just a testament to how tough Ric Flair was. Because he was, I don't know how old he was at this point, but 50-some probably.
Well, he's been 83 since 2002. So,
That's true.
Props to him. Props to Flair for taking that spot. Because that's a big spot to take for anybody, let alone a man of his age. I didn't love the second Money in the Bank ladder match. I didn't think it was as good as the first.
It wasn't.
RVD won that one, and I love RVD. Always did as a kid. As I kind of got older, I kind of soured away from RVD a bit because, I don't know, I just fell out of love, I guess, with RVD. But as a kid, I always loved Rob Van Dam. Here's an embarrassing story. When I used to play SmackDown, Just Bring It or Shut Your Mouth, one of the ones on PS2, I used to make my creator character, and his name was Joshua Van Dam. That used to be my creator character, and he had like black spiky hair, and he used to just have RVD's moves. I used to just hit frog splashes all day long. But that was my guy when I had those games. I would have been legit like 7 or 8 here, people. So, the last time, God, I can't even think of the last time I made Joshua Van Dam. Oh, it was yesterday when I played 2K19. No, so that to me isn't a great Money in the Bank ladder match, but that winner I loved. So it's still a good Money in the Bank ladder match. My favorite one, other than the first one, is probably 24. I mentioned it before, but WrestleMania 24's ladder match was fantastic. Punk winning, and Jericho was in it, and who else was in it? Carlito, John Morrison. Just a cool ladder match. Really, really cool ladder match. When you think of WrestleMania, though, not all of these matches are fantastic. There's some stinkers in there. Don't worry. There's some stinkers all over WrestleMania. When you think of just your least favorite WrestleMania matches, or just ones that you just thought were downright bad, what kind of comes to mind?
This is a short one, just because I'm currently looking at the WrestleMania 21 card still. Remember when Big Show took on Akibono in the sumo wrestling match?
Oh yes, I do.
That was stupid. I'll just say it. That was dumb.
Oh man, yeah, I remember that.
Like, seriously, when I think of WrestleMania matches that I didn't like, it's usually because they didn't live up to expectations, not necessarily because they were bad.
Okay, yeah, that's
like
fair.
There are bad matches, but a lot of times, like, they were matches that I think we all thought were going to be bad, so we don't really think about them too much. But here's one that I thought was going to be really good that I was very disappointed in, and this is only 2 years ago now. WrestleMania 33. Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt for the WWE title.
Ooh, yeah.
When they turn the lights on, and like they're like the maggots and the cockroaches in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
That's really all the match was. It was super short, I remember.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was just something they tried to be different, and it fucking didn't work.
Yeah, it was awful. And I hated that they took the belt off Bray Wyatt, because I'm a big Bray Wyatt fan. I know we haven't seen him in forever, so it's like I haven't gotten to talk about him as much as I'd like to. But I love Bray Wyatt, and I loved when he won the belt at Elimination Chamber. And I really hated that they had to take the belt off him so quick, especially knowing what happened next, where Randy basically just dropped the belt to Jinder Mahal, which is still a sentence that I find doesn't roll off the tongue quite as easily as maybe it should.
Yeah, Bray Wyatt is... I would assume that Bray's in for a return next week on a Raw SmackDown after Mania. You would assume that he's coming back.
Yeah, you think?
He's been more than ready to be back for ages. He's been on live events from what I remember. So, I guess in my logical sense, I'm just like, maybe they're just waiting for the right story. But I mean, you wouldn't bring him back on, say, SmackDown today because, hey, it's WrestleMania. There's really no reason to bring him back at WrestleMania. So you would think next week we would hope to see a Bray Wyatt return.
Yeah, I hope so. I really do. I guess they just didn't have anything for him for the longest time, which is, it sucks, but that's how it goes. A lot of times you just don't have enough writers to go around for all the talent that deserves spots. So I'm hoping that they have something for him, and I'm hoping that his character is a little freshened up, because I think it was getting a little bit stale, even though I do like the Bray Wyatt character a lot. Hopefully he comes back fresh, renewed, reinvigorated, and ready to roll.
Yeah, I agree. For me, when I think of just my kind of least favorite WrestleMania matches, it's the same as you. They're not necessarily bad. It just they didn't live up to the hype. And I go to WrestleMania 23, WrestleMania 33 as well. And this one might surprise you, but I did not like the 4-way elimination match for the Raw Women's Championship. It was Charlotte, Nia, Bayley, and Sasha. Now, the reason I kind of get so sour on this match is I went in with the expectation that up until right of the week of WrestleMania, it was a fatal 4-way match. I was like, cool, this match is going to be fast-paced. It's going to have a lot of cool spots. They were teasing a lot of different elements. But then they made it elimination. And to me, a 4-way elimination match takes out the fun of a fatal 4-way. Unless you do it absolutely perfectly. To me, they didn't do this. Now, I'm not saying the match was bad. It's just one of not my favorite kind of stuff. I just feel like it was kind of a little bit rushed in the way that they eliminated people. It was an odd finish. Bayley just kind of won. It just felt very anticlimactic for WrestleMania. Again, not a bad wrestling match, just not one that I particularly enjoyed.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I too, I err on the side of elimination matches are tough to pull off, especially because fatal 4-ways could be really fun.
Yeah.
But you take sort of the pacing out of it with an elimination style match.
Yeah.
I wasn't a huge fan of it either. Now that I'm thinking about it, WrestleMania 33, it had its moments, definitely. AJ Styles and Shane McMahon was terrific.
Perfect match. Great match. Underrated match. I watched WrestleMania 33 a couple of days ago. That's why it's kind of been fresh in my mind. But
yeah.
Styles and McMahon is, again, a match that we don't talk about enough.
I know. It's just, it's so good. And Shane pulled his weight in that match. Obviously, you're going to have the people out there saying Styles carried him. And to an extent, maybe that's true. But, I mean, you have Shane McMahon out there going for shooting star presses at his age with not even being a legitimate full-time wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
But he lays his body on the line every time he's in that ring. And that was a very good win for AJ Styles.
Yeah, a lot of people were like, why is Styles fighting Shane McMahon? There's not really a bigger name in this business than McMahon. When you think about it, McMahon has the most name value behind it. Vince, Stephanie, Linda, or Shane. It don't matter. If your last name is McMahon, whoever's in the ring with you, whoever you're in a segment with, is getting a significant amount of attention to be in a segment with a McMahon. So I don't ever hold that argument. I'll always argue that. I'll always be like, well, it doesn't matter because they're a McMahon and they're working with, guess what? They are the most important people in the company because it's their company. So,
yeah.
I mean, that Styles and McMahon is really, really good. Mania 33, obviously a moment that comes to mind for Mania 33 is the Hardy Boys returning. I don't think there'll ever be a time where I watch that and don't get goosebumps or get just smile ear to ear. Because that is just... is that the greatest return ever?
I would say so. Just because they'd wrestled in Ring of Honor the night before. They wrestled the ladder match with the Bucks. And just the fact that they're at WrestleMania the next night, not only wrestling, but winning the Raw Tag Team Championships.
Yeah. It was a great match. No one ever talks about the match because the moment itself was just so big. But that actual match, I watched it the other day. It was really good if you just take it for what it is on the match. It actually is a really cool ladder match.
Very fun match, definitely.
When you think of cool moments at WrestleMania, aside from the matches, it may be a moment within a match, but if you think of a cool moment at WrestleMania, what kind of comes to your brain other than the Hardys?
So one of my favorites, and I wasn't alive for it, but I've seen it. Everyone's seen this video. I believe it was WrestleMania 9, where Hogan is wrestling. I don't even remember who he's wrestling, honestly, but you had that moment where Warrior came out to save him, and he's sprinting through the crowd down that really long entrance ramp. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That, for me, that is like one of the pinnacle WrestleMania moments, is just that run from Ultimate Warrior.
Hey, that is... Damn. I didn't even think about that kind of stuff. WrestleMania moments to me... Hey... There was one that comes to my brain from my favorite WrestleMania, WrestleMania 24. It is a moment for very different reasons why I like this moment. Okay, celebrity involvement is a thing at WrestleMania. It's a thing in wrestling. Now, there's a certain woman that shows up to this WrestleMania, and she is a special backstage presenter. Her name is Kim Kardashian.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I like this moment, it's Kim Kardashian's old face. It's her old face. So, it's just very odd to see Kim Kardashian look like that. But she's interviewing, I believe, Mr. Kennedy. Mr. Kennedy. Now, when she is on the screen, the reason it is my favorite moment is because her face appears and she's ready to talk, and the crowd boos.
Oh, yeah.
And I just find it so funny. I'm like, Kim Kardashian's getting booed at WrestleMania. Also, Kim Kardashian is on this WrestleMania, which was in 2008. And I don't know why I just didn't put two and two things together, but I didn't realize the Kardashians were a big thing in 2008. I thought it was a bit later, but also I'm just getting older. But yeah, it's Kim Kardashian's old face as well, so that makes me... I always laugh when I see her old face, because she doesn't look like that anymore.
No, she's had some work done.
Hey, nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying you don't look like that anymore, Kim. Also, Raven Simone is on that WrestleMania. She also gets booed.
See, that one, I understand booing Kim Kardashian. People don't like her. They don't like the show. They don't like the whole stigma around the family. Raven Simone rocks. Like,
That's So Raven was a fantastic show. Okay,
everybody and their mother loved That's So Raven. How could you boo Raven?
She had visions. Okay, Raven had visions. She saw the future. Okay, so I used to watch the crap out of all those old Disney shows, like That's So Raven, Lizzie McGuire. Oh, I love Lizzie McGuire. Damn.
And you had there was like that era, and then the next era was like the Sweet Life.
Zach and Cody, oh my god.
Zach and Cody, baby.
Hannah
Montana.
You can't. We're the same age. You're getting me on. Like, everyone when I talk about this, they're like, wait a minute. You were like, I was like 9, 10, 11 years old. Of course I was watching these shows. You had like all the Disney shows and the Nickelodeon shows like iCarly, Drake and Josh.
Drake and Josh is a classic. iCarly is a classic.
What else? Did you watch the Amanda Show when you were a kid?
Yes.
My God, the Amanda Show was brilliant. I have the Amanda Show. I bought that crap on iTunes. That's how committed I am to the Amanda Show. And man, there's so much great stuff on the Amanda Show. I could do a podcast on that thing. Moody's Point and Penelope. Oh my God. The Amanda Show sends me... Oh man. All of that kind of stuff. So yeah, man... I'm now having all these flashbacks to these old Disney and Nickelodeon shows. They were the shit,
the Dancing Lobsters.
Oh, bringing the Dancing Lobsters, yep. Oh my God. Amanda, please. Oh, man. Oh.
I love the ones where it'd be like they're stuck in the tub or they're stuck in the car.
Oh yeah, and they couldn't get out or something because it was like Survivor, but they were in.
Yeah, like if you got out, you lost, and at the very end, like Judge Judy and the bailiff realized keys were in the ignition of the car the whole time and just took off.
And then personal favorite is, so you want to win $5.
So you want to win $5.
I love that crap. It was just silly, but you were a kid and it didn't matter. Like, it did not matter. I loved all of those shows, though. Man, this is taking a turn.
All
I don't even give a shit. This has taken such a turn, but I used to watch Disney. Nickelodeon was just like on repeat in my bedroom for I just clicked between those two channels. Like,
were you a big Cartoon Network guy or no?
No, so we had, like, I guess in your land it would be called basic cable, and Cartoon Network wasn't basic cable in Australia. A basic cable, the two kids channels were Nickelodeon and Disney, so we had to pay extra for that, and my parents didn't fork out the money so I could watch Cartoon Network. Of course, I've watched the Powerpuff Girls, though, and stuff like that, so don't worry. I'm a Powerpuff Girls kind of guy.
I used to, I had the same routine every day from the time I was like 4 till I was like maybe 10, is where I would get home from school. I would make myself some, or my mom would make me a little snack, and I would watch the Smurfs and a pup named Scooby-Doo like every day for 6 years.
Hell yes to all of that. I remember that kind of stuff when you would come home from school. The first thing that was always... So I used to watch Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Not the cartoon version, like the actual, like, with Melissa Joan Hart. Like, I used to watch Sabrina the Teenage Witch that used to be on I used to finish school at 3. I'd be home by 3:30. I'd watch Sabrina. Then Raven was on Disney Channel at 4. And then I believe Drake and Josh was on at 4:30. And then 5 o'clock would be... Do you remember Phil of the Future?
Yeah, I remember Phil of the Future.
Fuck yeah. We are just bonding on a whole nother level right now, because I used to watch all of these shows. All of them. And do you remember when you, like, got a little bit older and, like, I believe it was when, like, Hannah Montana was coming to an end, or maybe a little bit before, when I was like, I'm getting too old for this, and I started to watch MTV because I was cool. So I'd, like, start to watch MTV, and I'd start to watch, like, Jersey Shore, and I'd get older, and I'd be like, look at me not watching Disney Channel anymore. But then at nighttime, I'd still watch Disney Channel really late at night.
Yeah, there was a point where you got too old for it, and then I think there was a point where you were old enough to come back to it.
Fuck yeah, like, I watch it now.
I was going to say, if you put Hannah Montana on right now, I'd watch it no problem.
Me too, and I'd know every word to it. Every word to all the episodes, because I've watched every episode like 400 times. The Hannah Montana movie, sign me up for all that. High School Musical, oh, man.
Oh, you're speaking my language. I love High School Musical.
I can watch High School There was a time when I was like, I'm too cool for High School Musical. I'm not watching this anymore. I'm too old. But now, if someone put it on right now, I'd be singing every damn song. I have it all in my Spotify playlist, and it comes on in my car, and people are like, what are you listening to?
Yeah, me too.
I'm like, High School Musical, bitch. That's what I'm listening to. Man.
Dude, at school, I'm known as I was known as, like, the High School Musical guy, because I dressed up as Troy Bolton for Halloween one year.
Holy shit. If we celebrated Halloween over here, which we don't really in Australia, it's kind of become more of a thing lately, but I would dress up as Troy Bolton. I would do it. In a heartbeat.
I ordered the jersey. I didn't have the hair for it, which is upset because I had a buzz cut. But no one really bothered me too much about it. I actually did a television show. One of the things I did when I was in college was I was an anchor for our sports talk show. And our Halloween episode was like, oh, everyone could dress up. And so I dressed up and did the whole show in character as Troy Bolton. I snuck in a whole bunch of fun stuff, like bopping to the top and how we're all in this together.
Oh,
and people,
my God.
People cracking up.
Who is your favorite character in High School Musical?
Troy.
Was it Troy? Okay.
Yeah.
Mine was not Troy.
Who was yours?
I liked Ryan.
Okay. Ryan
and Sharpay were lit.
Fantastic.
Except for Gabriella. I hated Gabriella. She was like the most...
See, I had a crush on Vanessa Hudgens so bad.
Oh, no. She was the most overdramatic girl. Like, Troy would move a cup, and she's like, I'm moving schools. I can't deal with this. And I'm like, oh, shut up, Gabriella. Shut the hell up. I was a Sharpay and Ryan guy. I always liked Sharpay and Ryan. Their songs were...
I feel like there's Troy and Gabriella guys, and there's Ryan and Sharpay guys.
I'm Ryan and Sharpay all the way. All the way. I'm gonna watch High School Musical. Screw WrestleMania today. I'm watching High School Musical. I'm having a High School Musical marathon after SmackDown today. Sign me
I had
up.
a High School Musical marathon, like, when's the last time I watched all three of them in a row was, I think, last year. Which, again, I was 21 years old, so it's not like I was...
God. I'm almost certain, I'm almost 100% certain that if we lived very close to each other, we would be best friends because we just would watch wrestling and Disney and Nickelodeon shows.
Yeah, we literally are like the same person, just in different places.
I've never met someone that's loved High School Musical as much as I have. I've never met someone that's liked High School Musical, all of those Disney Nickelodeon shows, and wrestling, all in one. Man,
it's a very odd mix.
Damn. And I'll happily mix all of those things. Oh my God, what a... Man, we have steered off of WrestleMania, and I'm not apologizing for it, because I'm not sorry at all.
No, we're talking about the WrestleMania of kids shows.
Oh, damn. Bravo, Kevin.
Thank you.
Kevin, before we get back into WrestleManias, I think it's time we play a little game. I think it's time for some...
Oh, I forgot about this.
Kevin
oh my God.
Versus
Australia, mate. Good day. Good day, Cobber.
All right, Kevin. Now you're 0-1 here. Australia is in the lead. You didn't know what a shoey was. Well, you do now. But you didn't know what a shoey was. Today we're going to mix things up a little bit. Kevin, do you know what the AFL is?
Is it the Australian Football League?
Hey! We're 1-1. Do you know...
Let's go.
Do you know any kind of thing about Aussie rules footy? Do you know anything about the Australian Football League? Anything about AFL? Can you name anything?
Not a single thing.
So Aussie rules footy is our footy. It's our, well, at least in this part of the country, because some people's footy is the NRL, which is like rugby, which I don't talk about this in this part of Australia. Fuck off with that shit. But AFL is Aussie rules footy. It's played on like a circle kind of oval. There's 2 goals each end. How to explain this in layman's terms so I don't confuse you? Basically, you just got to kick goal, and it's not. Do you call it? Wait, is it soccer over there? Soccer?
Yeah, we call it soccer. I was just gonna clarify that we were talking about some form of soccer.
It's different to soccer. It's not on the, you can bounce the ball, and it's like a, how do I explain this? It looks like you have your American footballs. They're kind of like,
yeah.
It's kind of like that. I'll send you a picture of what an Aussie rules footy looks like on Twitter or something after. But yes, it is the Australian Football League. It is our Australian love. We love cricket, and we love Aussie rules footy. You know what cricket is, don't you? Do you have cricket in America? I don't know.
I'm sure we have it in like small doses. We don't have like a major cricket league. All I know about cricket, and I actually do know like a relatively decent amount, is because I did a report on it, also for school. I don't know why. Everyone had to do a project on something popular in like the Middle East, and I looked up cricket, and I'm like, the UAE is really big with cricket, and I'm like, okay, so I'll just do that then because I want to do something sports related. And so I studied up on the game a little bit. I don't really retain much of that knowledge though.
I'm not a cricket guy. I like footy. I like Aussie rules footy, but I'm not a cricket guy. But bet to God that when all of my British guys in Brainbuster want to talk about the Ashes and Australia versus England, you'd bet your ass that I'm going to be pulling for Australia. But yeah, AFL, it's our version of your American football, which is the NFL. It's just our kind of big deal. We have all our AFL grand finals and that, and kind of it's just like a very family-orientated sport. Everyone kind of goes and watches the footy. Every Australian at some point in their life will or has been to an AFL game. I've been to 2. I went to one as a kid and I got incredibly sick. And it was awful. And then I went to one later in life, and I got really drunk, and it was amazing.
That's the best time.
But it's just, man, it's if you don't know it, like, you have to really immerse yourself in it to understand it. It's hard to explain in words exactly how you play footy without showing you. But yes, you did get it right, so you are 1-1. Congratulations, Kevin.
That's big. That's big. Thank you.
Tiebreaker next episode. We're gonna have the big tiebreaker. Can you form a lead? Can you get on yourself a little bit of a streak here with Australia? It may happen, but hey, you know what the AFL is, so I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that. Whenever you see AFL now, you must make sure that you support my team and you go for the Adelaide Crows. The Adelaide Crows are what you want to go for. They're my team.
All right, I will. It's funny when I heard AFL, I didn't know for certain that was the right answer. Like, I wasn't confident, but the AFL in America was the former American Football League, and so I just figured substitute Australian for American, and it made sense. And I knew you guys had like a different style of footy over there, as you call it. I like that word, footy. Footy.
Yeah, that's what we call it. We're going to chuck something on the barbie and watch the footy, watch the cricket. You know, that's just how we do
so
it.
Australian.
I know. I can be Australian when I want to be. But yeah, footy is a lovely game. Anyone can play it. There's so many kids that play footy and stuff like that just around town. You can just play it. We used to play cricket and footy on the road. Bins would be our goals or our stumps.
Oh, yeah.
So that was a thing. But now you can just get drunk and go watch the footy. It's easy.
Sounds brilliant.
Yeah. Goes for a couple hours. It's a good time. But yeah, so next time I'm going to come with an even harder question. We might venture into some entertainment stuff because I'm sure there's a lot of Australian stars that you have no fucking idea who they are. But yeah, everyone that's listening to this that isn't a follower of AFL, you have to go for the Adelaide Crows because you'd be supporting me. So go for the Adelaide Crows. Thank you very much.
I'm a big Adelaide Crows fan now.
That's what I like to hear, Kevin. So now we've gone on a bit of a tangent here about Disney shows and Disney movies and some Australian knowledge. Let's get back to the task at hand. Let's get back to WrestleMania. All in all, WrestleMania is a spectacle. It's in stadiums. It is the biggest event in wrestling, hands down. But when you watch some of the older Manias and even like WrestleMania 20 and such, they're in arenas. And I don't know about you, but does the stadium feel of a WrestleMania just add to WrestleMania? Or do you think WrestleMania is just so that name and that kind of feeling that it could be in an arena and still have the same effect?
No, I feel like WrestleManias and arenas are just not as there's just something about looking into the crowd at a stadium as opposed to looking at one in an arena. An arena just feels like Raw or SmackDown. A stadium feels like WrestleMania.
Yeah.
There's something about it that you just can't capture in an arena. So I'm a big stadium guy, and that luckily has become the norm.
Yeah, it has. I don't think WrestleManias won't be in a stadium, at least anytime soon. They're always going to be in a stadium, but I'm the same as you. I'm always a advocate of the big four pay-per-views should be in... Well, WrestleMania should be in stadiums, but then I think, like the Rumble. Like the Rumble had that... Were they in a baseball stadium or something?
Yeah, they were in a baseball.
I think they should do more stuff like that for SummerSlam, at least, because SummerSlam, to me, when you watch it, it just feels like any other show because it's in an arena. I'm the same as you. The visual aspect alone of having WrestleMania in a stadium and, the Rumble in a baseball stadium, it just adds to the show. It adds to the presence. It makes it feel a lot bigger. So I think they should start implementing that with SummerSlam and stuff like that. But I think Rumble and WrestleMania will be in stadiums or stadium-like arenas, at least, for the time being, at least. I don't think that's going away anytime soon.
Yeah, no, and it shouldn't be. I mean, obviously, the demand is there. They pack these stadiums every year. So you got to assume that they're not going to, they're at MetLife this year. They're going to Tampa Bay next year. They're going all over the place. You got to imagine that they're going to continue to fill these stadiums with 70,000, 80,000 people.
Yeah. As we kind of are heading towards the end of this episode, but if you could just describe WrestleMania in a sentence or two, how would you describe WrestleMania? What is it to you?
It's the pinnacle of the sport. It's the absolute apex of wrestling. It's what we do. It's why we watch.
Yeah, well, ditto to all of that. I echo that completely. If it brings in every form of fan, even if there's someone who doesn't watch wrestling all year long, they'll watch WrestleMania. They'll be open to watching WrestleMania because it's WrestleMania. It's gonna it's every year it's getting longer and longer, but it doesn't matter to me. WrestleMania is just. It is the biggest event in... It's my Christmas. WrestleMania is honestly my Christmas day. I love WrestleMania that much. It's my favorite day of the year. It just... You get excited and giddy over it, and you're like, just... It is a exciting time. Even when you watch old Manias, I get a sense of that feeling of, oh man, like the opening video packages is something I look forward to. I look forward to the little things... Of course, I look forward to the matches and all the moments it creates, but the little things, like, I love WrestleMania video packages. I think, like, hype videos...
They're always stellar.
They have great music. They are different. They feel bigger. I like the graphics itself for WrestleMania when they're hyping the matches on Raw and SmackDown, and the graphics just look bigger. They're always big, huge graphics with bright colors and cool animations, and, they look physically a lot bigger than the other graphics. I don't even know how to describe that, but do you understand what I mean? Like, the graphics itself just definitely look bigger and they look more
Everything
important.
Has a bigger feel to it.
The music they use, the theme songs, like I can listen, what is it this year? It's that One Republic song. I can't think of the title. Love Runs Out. That is one of the songs this year. And even when that song comes on, I'm like, oh, it's Mania. I'm getting excited for Mania. It's just the little things about WrestleMania that I love it. I love WrestleMania. Even the shit ones. Because there is some shit ones, like WrestleMania 27.
Bad.
Hate WrestleMania
Literally,
27.
WrestleMania 27 was a setup for WrestleMania 28.
Literally. WrestleMania 27 to me is just piss poor. It's terrible. You had some good matches on it, like Triple H Taker was great. There was a Cody Rhodes and Rey Mysterio match at that WrestleMania 2, which was pretty good as well. But just the main event was crap. It was. Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler went for a really long time when it shouldn't have.
Oh, that's true. That Mania had Cole and Lawler.
Yeah, it was just. I didn't like the set. I didn't like the set of WrestleMania 27. I didn't like the pacing of it. I didn't like how it flowed. I just really didn't like WrestleMania 27. I didn't like 29 either. 29 was pretty average, but it had a great Punk Taker match, which makes it better to me than 27, because that Punk Taker match was really, really good. I didn't care for Triple H and Brock Lesnar. I really didn't. Cena Rock 2 was okay.
It was like the same thing as it was the year prior. You'd already seen it.
Yep.
Just with a different result. And a result that everyone knew was coming, too, which always sort of sinks a main event when you know it's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I get that. It was kind of a foregone conclusion that Cena was winning that one. But, there is bad WrestleManias. However, they're still WrestleMania, and they still are a part of history, and they're an upper echelon of stuff. So, I mean, even the bad ones still had they all have their good parts, at least. Even 27. So, as we kind of wind down and we're looking towards this year's WrestleMania, we're obviously not going to give any predictions away, because that is coming up this Friday. I can finally say it. It's 2 days away. No, or 3 for you, but we're so close to Brainbuster, our Brainbuster debut. Brainbuster this week has absolutely killed it. If you haven't listened to Brainbuster Radio stuff this week, you are doing yourself a disservice, because Luke's show was great. Omega Luke, wonderful show. Wilf had a really cool show on a baseball kind of take on wrestling baseball. It was
I
really cool.
I love Will's show.
So
I'm
do
a
I.
huge baseball fan, and I loved his thought process behind it. It's clear that he not only is a huge wrestling fan, but he's also a baseball fan, and he gets what makes each player was in their position for a reason, and it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Like, I'm not shitting you when I say I genuinely am listening to all of these shows. I really am. I didn't know the first thing about baseball. Baseball's not a big thing in Australia. America. I'm in Australia. Wrestling's not a... oh my god, I'm tongue-tying my words like crazy. Baseball is not a big thing in Australia. But I still listen to that show, and I still really enjoyed it. So I can't wait for... Coming up tomorrow on Brainbuster Radio, we've got JPQ with no particular angle. He is fantastic. And of course, we've got the debut of Queen's Court, which I am so dang excited to hear her show. I'm so excited to hear Queen. I absolutely love Queen to bits. She is a wonderful, wonderful lady. Just a wonderful, wonderful girl.
She really is. Her spot on our show was fantastic. I'm so happy she was able to come do it. I can't wait to have her back on again. And I can't wait to go on Queen's Court.
Me too. And then, of course, Thursday, we got Foul. You got us on Friday. You got Badlands Pod on Saturday. And you got Everything Pro Wrestling Show with Conrad on Saturday as well. And then you got Wrestle Thoughts to end out your week. I have listened. I'm getting more and more excited for Brainbuster, our debut, to add our style, to add our pacing to Brainbuster Radio. But just everyone is knocking it out of the park. We got to get our ass into gear, Kevin. We're going to have to be on every week because, damn, they are some great shows. I can't wait to hear how this rest of the week flows because, man, Luke and Wilf have kicked it off nicely.
Yes, they have. And, hey, we're always on our game, so I'm not too worried.
I like the confidence. So, Kevin, Wrestlemania week is rolling on. We're going to sign off on this episode. Please make sure you go and subscribe to Brainbuster Radio because it's the only way you're going to get this next episode. I'm not putting this show, not putting the Friday episode on my own feed. You can only find it on Brainbuster Radio. So please make sure you go and subscribe. Go and do it right now. And listen to everyone else's show that's coming up and that has been on Brainbuster Radio because, like I said, top stuff. Kevin, before we sign off for the day, have you got anything you'd like to say to everybody as we say goodbye?
I hope that you guys enjoyed this show. I hope you enjoyed our little tangent into the world of Disney and Nickelodeon. That wasn't planned. That was purely off the cuff, which I think is one of the
signing me and Kevin up now for a bonus episode of Wrestling or Josh and Kevin Reverb, where we talk about Disney and Nickelodeon shows. I think we could tangent onto that.
Yeah, that's going to be a 9-hour show.
Yep. It's going to be longer than
thanks for
WrestleMania.
listening. Thanks for listening, guys. I'm so looking forward to Friday.
Ooh, me too.
I'm so looking forward to Friday. Brainbuster Radio. We're in the building.
Oh, so exciting. Alrighty, we'll catch you guys this Friday exclusively on Brainbuster Radio. Peace out.